There is nothing new in the modern woman's requirement of material wealth as a basis of attraction to men. This age-old behavior is not necessarily greed, even though in many cases it seems so. Since the beginning of time, women have always factored in the availability of money or other representations of affluence in their partner selection process. This is because the natural order of life has placed men in the lofty and often demanding position of the provider. Women, on the other hand, have the complex assignment of nurturing. So, what you see in the social dynamics of attraction that requires that a man presents a level of financial stability to earn a woman's interest is purely natural. This is because the woman needs an assurance that her man can provide her basic needs before committing to a joint existence. But due to the intricacies of human biology, a woman's brain chemistry demands more than financial stability from a proper relationship. And these are 6 things that women love even more than money. 1. A respectable man. You will earn the respect of all men if you begin by earning the respect of yourself. Musonius Rufus. Women are attracted to men who embody the concept of respect in all its forms. Even within the high-minded idea of romantic love, women demand the preservation of their basic human dignity. So, a man who has all the money in the world but lacks a firm grasp of the value of respect will be apt to displease women. Meanwhile, a respectable man moves through life with a great amount of self-respect, and outside himself, he also recognizes the importance of treating every other person with immense respect. In the company of such a man, a woman would find security because she equates his respectfulness with a high level of self-control, which prevents him from abusing himself, let alone a woman he loved. As a result of this quality, she observes in his person, she is confident in his ability to handle his business by himself. She knows he is not afraid to live on his own terms and forge his own path through life. This is because a substantial amount of self-knowledge is needed to attain the consciousness that makes a man deeply respectful of his internal and external worlds. Therefore, he will always stay true to himself because of the high standards he demands of himself and the people he allows into his life. A man who respects himself will never be found in disreputable company because he tailors his associations to his self-value. 2. A decisive man. More is lost by indecision than wrong decision. Indecision is the thief of opportunity. It will steal you blind. Marcus Tullius Cicero. A decisive man conveys a kind of attractiveness rooted in the primal human character. Consider the example of a man at a river's edge. The water is strange to him, so he has no idea of its depth or the nature of the potential dangerous aquatic life within it. But if he remains stagnated by his fear of the unknown, he will never escape the famine on his side of the river for the flourishing land on the other side. So, with decisive action, he elects to plunge into the unknown. Now, the result of his decision is not as important as his ability to make that decision amidst his dilemma. The fact that he overcame his fear is the most important thing. Decisiveness is an underrated psychological tool in human life. But a woman sees this attribute as one that can ensure her survival in difficult situations. A woman's survival, especially that of her psyche, is a tangible objective she seeks, even with greater fervor than she seeks material wealth. She is aware that a life with an endlessly indecisive man breeds enormous anxiety, and over time, this might overwhelm her and deteriorate her mental faculties. So, because she desires to bring a degree of certainty into her life, she attaches herself to a man who is not afraid to fail and who will make decisions in life. 3. An intellectual man. Give thyself time to learn something new and good. and cease to be whirled around. Marcus Aurelius. Even though money provides women with the freedom to adorn themselves and enjoy luxurious lifestyles, they are aware that it is a limited resource when it comes to matters of the heart and mind. This is why many women have exited wealthy marriages on the premise of intellectual disconnection and dissatisfaction. When a man doesn't apply himself intellectually enough, he denies himself the joy of pushing the boundaries of his intelligence. This has little to do with books, which are essential resources for any man who desires erudition. But outside scholarly elevation, a man must study life itself. Real life is the playground of theories. So, when a man allows himself to observe reality as it is, he becomes able to perceive the limits of his intellect. By examining life with profound eyes, he will realize exactly what women admire in men. For instance, he will learn to be emotionally strong when she needs him. He will even have times when he can predict her needs before she voices them. The real gift of enhancing your intellect is the development of an obvious mental maturity. As you move beyond the confines of knowledge, you will begin to exist in a state of pervasive wisdom, which will reveal itself in your behavior around women and everybody else. Knowing simply has never been the goal of gaining knowledge. The ability to use what is known is what separates an intellectual man from an ordinary man. 4. A purposeful man. Focus not on what he or she does, but on keeping to your higher purpose. Your own purpose should seek harmony with nature itself. For this is the true road to freedom. Epictetus. Women know that they, as well as the men they tie themselves to, are on a spiritual journey. However, the man's natural duty on this adventure is to provide direction. But you can't do that if you concern yourself with things that do not matter. Women hate to waste their time because they are aware that it is finite. So, they are usually in search of purposeful men. And when these conscious women anchor themselves to a man, they do so mainly to express the purpose of their own lives through that individual. Perfect examples of these types of women are the wives of athletes. You may not see it on the screen, but there are good wives behind the scenes contributing immensely to their partner's successes. These women are usually their husband's first responders when something goes wrong in their careers. This disruption might manifest as injuries, financial problems, or dwindling energy. However, because these women share their husband's purpose in equal parts with them, they give them the hand they need to rise back up from their lowest points. Some women take even more active roles in helping their partners fulfill their purpose. The wives of many bodybuilders and strongmen, for example, have to cook multiple times daily to support their spouse's professional goals. Yet, they combine this sometimes with raising kids and maintaining a sane household. So, women do not pursue purposeful men just because those men are driven. They do so because that drive gives them, too, something to hold on to as their reason for being. 5. A problem-solving man. Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. Seneca. There are several problems that money cannot solve, and these issues can have existential consequences. So, as much as women desire a man who is financially stable, they also want a man who can hold his own when he is faced with adverse conditions. A man with a problem-solving mindset is never stuck on a problem. Even when he appears to be, he is actively finding the most suitable solution to the puzzle before him. So, every well-adjusted woman wants to be around a man who has fixed or is proactively fixing himself. This is a man who has trained himself to focus on his remedies instead of his poisons. He understands that dwelling on the difficulty of his fate only drowns him in misery. So, he accepts the challenge of his destiny, and this is a trait women want to see in their men. They want to be with a man who believes in his own ability to take life head-on and defeat his limitations and inhibitions. 6. A Renaissance man. If you apply yourself to study, you will avoid all boredom with life. You will not long for night because you are sick of daylight. You will be neither a burden to yourself nor useless to others. You will attract many to become your friends, and the finest people will flock about you. Seneca. Women love it when a man is genuinely interested in them, and this is where a Renaissance man excels above every other man. A Renaissance man is a man who is interested in all and bored by none. He lives with the curiosity of a child and the perspective of a wizened old man. However, the central quality that draws women to a Renaissance man is the sharpness of his presence. His interest is never performative. So, wherever he is, he exists there completely. This is why he is able to have engaging conversations laden with humor and insight, and interactions with such a beautiful mind can bring the kind of fulfillment that money cannot buy into a woman's life. More than riches. Women love men they can have fun with, and this fun nature is a product of a man's broad exploration of life in all its textures. So, women will always love money, and every man must work smartly to fatten his pockets. But while you await financial success, you must not think you are undesirable without it. Women have wider interests beyond money, and there are other ways in which you, as a man, can make yourself attractive.